Meanwhile, we haven't heard anything about any offers today from any of the automakers. And as we near the end of the first 24 hours of the stand-up strike, we're already beginning to see the ripple effect.
Yeah, Ford and General Motors are the first to say they are seeing part shortages already. Layoffs are in the future. Business Editor Rod Maloney live tonight at Huntington Place with more of what we do know tonight. Rod.
Yeah, good evening, Devin, Kimberly. This is a situation where, auto plants are complex animals, right? Lots of stuff goes on. They do a lot of work that ends up getting sent to other plants to do other work. That's the kind of ripple effect that Sean Fain was looking for, and tonight he has found it. In this unusually open atmosphere, we're getting unexpected inside industry background, like Ford putting out a statement telling us the UAW struck the paint shop and final assembly sections of Michigan Assembly. Putting about 3,800 line workers on the picket line is seeing production issues already. 600 employees not to report to the integrated stamping section on Friday. They handle parts needing protective e-coating, and that comes from the paint plant. No paint department, no parts, no work. GM also saying the Fairfax, Kansas plant, where 2,200 workers build the Cadillac XT4 SUV and the Chevy Malibu, is likely to shutter next week. It's about to run out of stamped metal parts from the Wentzville, Missouri assembly plant the UAW included in its targeted strike Thursday night. General Motors Global Manufacturing Executive Vice President Gerald Johnson weighed in on the strike's ripple effect and the last national contract, which had that 6-week strike.
I'm hopeful that we will not repeat 2019. If I learned anything in 2019, it's that no one wins when we're on a strike. Myself and the GM team will continue to work hard with everyone's best interests as our focus.
Now, if you're looking for a way to end this strike, an unlikely player's weighed in. Former Automotive Task Force Chief Harry Wilson, who helmed the GM and Chrysler bankruptcies, offered a wage number in this instance that exceeds what's on the table.
Even if you assume a normalized inflation going forward, which I think is more likely than not, that ends up being 30% above where they are today over that period of time. And so you can look at that as, I think, fair. It allows workers to keep up with inflation.
And so now line workers are out on strike, about 13,000 of them getting a $500 check, but they're going to have to wait until the week after next to actually get that. Got to work 8 days or go without actually 8 days before they can get that check. And one of the analysts, S&P Global Mobility, tonight came out and said that we've got about 3,200 cars that were not made today, or vehicles not made today, and that number is certainly going to escalate, especially if Fairfax does go down next week. Back to you.
Well, Rod, it seems like a fair question as to whether negotiators or the key players are spending more time in front of cameras right now than they are actually at the table. Talk about the outlook for negotiations.
Well, they kind of took a respite today. The UAW essentially took its victory lap right out behind me here this evening. They're on strike. They know that they've got the car makers' attention. They did some talks today, but tomorrow they're going to return to the table and go back in earnest. And they expect to do more work and get something accomplished by this weekend. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. But they will be back at it hard starting in the morning.
I sure hope so. All right, Rod.